I'm kind of excited. I want to jump to the end because I was just having a chat with someone and we were talking about some of the new studies that have come out and why microplastics is so important for us to understand. And anyway, so I'm ready to jump to the end, but I can't get there right away. I need to go through some other preliminary, just let's get some good teaching in tonight, but definitely stay to the end because the research is phenomenal with what we're going to go over tonight. So welcome, everyone. It's exciting that you're here. I am Annette Reeder from the biblicalnutritionist.com, as I say on YouTube. And I'm just really honored that you would spend this evening with us and spend some time. The more we can understand about how God designed our body, how he created the foods that help us to heal. And sometimes we even have to reach into those foods and pull out some nutrients to make into a supplement for even beneficial healing. We're going to talk about that as well tonight. And it's just exciting to see how God created us. It's also important for us to understand what's interfering with your healing. I know several of you were talking on YouTube when I was posting some videos there about hormones, because I mentioned hormones. Well, we're definitely going to go over that tonight. I mentioned your immune system, and we're going to talk about that tonight as well. But most importantly, most of you were really clinging to the microplastics talk. And so we're going to do that as well. So a lot to cover tonight. And this is kind of like a gift to you to go into the new year and really go in with that just that settledness that you're doing things right to keep your inflammation down, to heal your gut. And going into the new year is like, I've got it. I have got this new year, 2026. I'm going to have less inflammation. I'm just going to have more calm and resilience. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. So, all right, enough with the tease. Let's get started. I just want to say, your body right now is doing something very incredible. Basically, it's trying to protect you from the world. And there's a lot going on in the world around us. Yet we need to also understand that there is one key element that is going to determine how well you are, how healthy you are. And this is the part of the body that feels the pressure first. It's the part of the body that's going to have to respond first to everything it's exposed to. And we're talking about the gut. We are talking about the gut. So I worked with a lady. She came to me, and just for as long as she had been an adult, she had suffered food cravings, horrible cycles, mood swings that tested everyone in the family. And she came down with colds at least 3 to 4 times a year. Well, we started on the Bible diet, including supplements to heal the gut. And she no longer is dealing with any of these symptoms. Now you have to ask, well, who's more excited, the family members or her? Actually, it's a tie. The family members were so appreciative for me working with her and just to share with her what the Bible diet is and how God created our body to heal. So that's what I'm going to offer to you tonight too, as well.
Struggling with cravings, fatigue, or confusion about your health? You're not alone. But you don't have to stay stuck. Get the free Bible Health ebook and discover 7 powerful steps to real, lasting transformation God's way. Break emotional eating. Learn what truly satisfies. Align your health with God's truth. This is your breakthrough. Get your free Bible Health ebook now on the website, thebiblicalnutritionist.com. It's time to take the first step toward vibrant health, both physically and spiritually.
And then I was working, another man had come to me and he's like, Annette, I heard your testimony about cholesterol. And I said, yes. And he says, my cholesterol is really high. The doctor is insistent that I take a statin. And he said his doctor was actually very mad at him because he wouldn't grab the drug and get started. And so we got started on healing the gut and changing the foods, went back to the doctor, showed him that the cholesterol was totally down within normal range. His doctor didn't like that. And so, but yet he was very happy because he had totally controlled his cholesterol. So much can happen when we heal the gut. So much can happen when we just take the simple steps that God designed for us and just put it into practice. And so just realize our body was designed for a world without microplastics in the water, without pesticides sprayed all over our food, without artificial dyes and preservatives, and definitely without artificial meals. We weren't created to be taking all of that in. And so since the beginning of God's creation, the body was made for real food, drinking clean water, breathing clean air, and living with natural light and dark cycles, as opposed to all of us are under lights right now because probably a lot of you it's already evening. And so we were created to live in this pattern, but yet with all of the inventions and all of the alterations, everything's changed. So now we live in a world where tiny pieces of plastic, so small we can't even see them with our regular eye, is in our water, our food, our blood, our lungs, and even the placenta. And that's where it really tugs at my heart. In fact, one of my favorite clients is always going to be a woman before she conceives, because if we can help a woman change her health before she conceives, we've just changed another generation. We've set that child up for an amazing, healthy life. So, but we're dealing with it. It's different though. We're dealing with these issues. We're dealing with the produce that's been sprayed with chemicals that are actually designed to kill living organisms. We have to ask ourselves, wait a minute, but I'm a living organism. Right, but we're eating pesticides sprayed to kill living organisms. We have to ask, okay, where's the rationale in that? And I always talk about, the packaged foods, and my term for that is just lab experiments. Well, between lab experiments, microplastics, and pesticides, we are dealing with issues. We are dealing with a lot of issues. And yet your body is still trying to survive. And it's using biology in a way that it was never set up. It wasn't designed to handle the toxins at this level of exposure, but praise God, it's doing it. And we are all still alive. Many people are suffering, but the fact that we're still living shows that this is an incredible body. All right, well, tonight I'm going to share with you what is happening in our food, what's happening in our gut, so that 2026 is your greatest immune safe year ever. So healing the immune system leads to days of fulfillment. We read about scripture where it talks about fulfillment and abundant life, yet mentally, physically, and emotionally, many people aren't experiencing the fulfillment, the abundant life. And that's because of what's going on in our gut. So again, this doesn't start in the brain. It doesn't start in your hormones, and it doesn't start in your immune system. It starts in the gut. Everything begins in the gut. And that's why this is so important for us to understand. So your gut is the main entry point between you and the outside world. And we talk about this in our Treasures of Healthy Living video series. We call it the inside view, where we walk you through the gut health. And yet it's what we need to always be thinking of. What is the inside view? What is this drink? What is this food? What is this environmental toxin that I'm consuming? What is this doing to the inside of me? And always keep that in mind. Because here's the thing, when the gut lining, when it's strong, it acts like a powerful filter. And so what happens is it lets nutrition in and it keeps toxins out. So it's a filter that God designed. In fact, sometimes when I'm speaking at different conferences, we'll start numbering all of the different filters that God has put in place just in your mouth, between your nose, and then the gut lining, and then all of the other systems of your body. They all have a filter. God has it's almost like if you remember the old TV show, Get Smart, and all of those doors that keep slamming. It's like that. God put all of these barriers to protect you. The toxins have to go through a minimum of 5 different barriers before they can get to your brain. And even the last one, the blood-brain barrier. God put all of this protective levels in place. Yet what we're seeing is the toxins, the microplastics, all of these are getting through. We get through the gut lining, we get through the next lining, and we get through the next lining. And you know what? But here's the beauty that I want you to walk away with tonight. God created our body to heal. And that's the good news. So I'm not just going to bring the doom and gloom. I'm going to bring the good news too. And so we're going to talk about that. And so what I talk about in the conferences is if you just put your hands up like this and make sure your fingers are super, super tight. This is the tight junctions in the microvilli of your intestines. And all of your digestive system has this microvilli. But when we have toxins and we have inflammation, what happens is it starts to separate. And that's when the toxins can make it through from our digestive system into our body to travel throughout. And if it's inflamed. In fact, recently I was cooking, which I have a lot of things that happen when I'm cooking, but I had a really bad burn on my thumb and it just hurt to come near it. And I was dealing with it for a couple days. And then all of a sudden I remember, wait a minute, why am I dealing with this burn when I can just take some beta glucan? And sure enough, I took it. And the next day I was like, oh, wow, that's starting to heal up really fast. So what we're going to talk about today is inflammation and how foods and specifically beta glucan can heal that inflammation. So we want that gut lining to come back to being really tight because that's your first protective barrier. So think about that tonight. Say, I'm healing my intestinal lining. And so we're going to talk about that as well. You see, when these gaps form, they were never, then we have things that enter into our bloodstream. That's where the microplastics start going in. That's where the toxins start going in, the bacterial toxins, the inflammatory food particles. So we're going from inflamed to tight. We're going from susceptible to everything to tightly protected against everything. So this is going to be exciting. And so what happens is when these toxins enter the circulation, they don't just float around. It would be nice if they just didn't cause any harm, but that's not what happens. They travel to the brain, to the liver, to the joints, and to the immune system, and to your hormones. And I know several of you were talking on YouTube about your hormones. You're like, oh, Annette, I don't need to listen to this because this is about my hormones. No, your hormones are about your gut. And so the hormones are never going to be in the way we want them until we've healed the gut. And so people are like, oh, but I'll just take this hormone therapy. Until you heal the gut, you're always going to be reaching for other answers. So we have to start with the gut. And so when our gut is inflamed and we have this effect, we're chronically tired, we're inflamed, which I've said, moody, anxious, foggy head, sensitive to foods. And that's a big one, in especially young children and elderly. Or you just feel run down all the time. So instead of asking, what's wrong with my body? A better question might be, how do I protect my body better in this world that we live in? And so that's what we're going to cover tonight. And that's truly where the conversation begins. Okay, so let's talk about beta glucan and the gut. And this is very important for you to understand. And I know by the end of tonight, you're going to say, okay, I just learned so much. I have pages of notes, but stay tuned with me. Keep up with me. So we're going to talk about something that quietly controls almost every area of your health, which I already shared with you. That's the gut. And most people think it's just about digestion. In fact, that's old school. That's, 40, 50 years ago when there were people that was like, no, we have to heal the gut first. And other people like, no, let's deal with the heart. And we have all these segmented medical establishments. But if you don't pull it all together with starting with the gut, you're always going to be going to all of these different doctors. You have to start with the gut. So your digestion, your gut, it influences, and this is the fun thing. So your gut, the word influencer, a lot of people are like, oh, that she's an influencer. Oh, he's an influencer. In other words, you do something on social media to influence an audience. Okay. Some people will say, I'm an influencer. And I will gladly say, yes, I'm an influencer for the Lord. So your gut is also an influencer. It influences your immune strength, your inflammation levels, your brain and your mood, and especially your hormones. And so I hear very often from women who are going through menopause and they're having horrific symptoms. And some people can't even sit very long without turning on a fan or having issues. Yet when I healed my gut in my 40s, when I went through menopause, I had one sort of warm flash. I didn't have a hot flash like a warm one. So I had one. I'm like, oh, I kind of can sense what people are talking about. But that was it because I'd already healed my gut. So I didn't have all those symptoms. And I was so thankful that I did that before in my 40s. So I didn't have to deal with those symptoms. But the thing is, I've worked with women in the middle of going through change, and all of a sudden their symptoms are calmed down, but not unless we heal the gut. And so it's really important for us to understand this. But your gut also influences the liver, your detox system, and even your metabolism and your weight. People will never be able to control weight unless they have a healthy gut. And so this is going to be really good to understand this. And so we have tools. We have tools in the food that God has given us. We have tools in our body, the way God has created it to heal. And we also have tools that we can use with supplements. And so all of this works together just to see the mighty hand of God. God is the only one who heals, but he also gave us a body that's created to heal. And sometimes we can use supplements to work with that as well. Okay. this single compound. So when we talk about beta glucan in foods and in supplements, it's going to strengthen that gut barrier. So I already shared with you. So we want tight junctions, but I also want as much as I can to keep it tight. We're all going to be taking in toxins. We cannot control everything we take in. We can be smart about a lot of what we take in, but just realize, okay, I want this to stay tight. So if anything comes in, my gut says, don't worry, Annette, I've taken care of it. You don't even have to interrupt your day because I'm busy. I'm busy trying to help churches start a biblical wellness revival. So I don't want any interruptions. And so think about this. When our gut is good and strong, it's going to, and we take in foods like beta glucan foods or even supplements, we strengthen this gut barrier. So not only are the junctions tight, but the barrier on top of the junctions is going to be very strong. It's going to support your immune system. It's going to calm inflammation. So this is a calmness. This is inflamed. This is calmness. It's going to protect your brain, and it's going to support your detox. So this is your whole body resilience working for you. All right, so let me go on and explain a little bit about what is beta glucan. I've done some videos about it in the grocery store and talked about it, but I just want to give you a little bit more detail about it. So basically, it's a natural type of fiber, and it's found in yeast, oats, barley, and some other foods as well, plus medicinal mushrooms. And we hear a lot about mushrooms today. But it's not just a regular fiber, and that's a good term too. It's not going to regulate. It's actually going to work differently in your body. And so beta glucan has 3 powerful roles, and you're going to love this. Number 1 is it feeds the gut bacteria. We all have bacteria in our guts. And so there's always going to be good and bad. You can totally sterilize your gut if you take an antibiotic, but then whoever populates first gets control. And so we're always going to have good, we're going to have bad. To keep them in balance, we feed the good. To keep them out of balance, we feed the bad. And we're going to talk about that tonight too. So when we have good beta glucan, either in our supplements or in our food, it's going to feed the good bacteria. So I'm going to keep these guys strong, so they keep the bad guys in check. It's going to train, and this is so important because people misunderstand immunity. Beta glucan helps to train and balance the immune system. And it strengthens the gut lining. Again, this is paramount. This means it doesn't just support one system. It's foundational to your entire body, is what we're going to talk about. So, all right, now let's go into prebiotics. This is another very popular topic, and microbiome. I love talking about the microbiome. It just fascinates me. Now, most people have heard about probiotics. They've been out. I've pretty much been doing supplements and natural healing. So since about 2003, pretty much in probiotics. Back then, we had to have all these checklists for your probiotics because it's just basically the main strains and things like that. Now it's its own vocabulary. There's all of these different prebiotics and not prebiotics, but probiotics, and they come in all different forms and they do different things. And to me, I find that fascinating. It's like God has revealed another level of how he created everything. He's like, oh, I'm going to give you another sneak peek into another level of healing that I have. And so it's fascinating. And so probiotics, it's kind of like the healthy bacteria that's in yogurt or supplements. And I love making my own raw milk yogurt, and it's totally the best yogurt I've ever had. So if you ever stop by someday, I'll give you a bite. But many people don't understand prebiotics. I mean, we kind of do, but not fully. These are the foods that the probiotics need to survive. And I kind of always describe it as like, okay, probiotics is the grass seed, but prebiotics are the soil. And I've had good gardens and I've had bad gardens in my backyard. Sometimes it's like, I don't know what's wrong with my dirt, but something's wrong because these seeds aren't growing. And so, yeah, I need to go back and revisit the soil. With your body, we need to revisit the gut and make sure we're getting the probiotics and the prebiotics. Because if you don't have healthy soil, nothing's going to grow for very long. It may start to grow, and then it's like, that took off so well. My cucumber plants took off so well, but I never got cucumbers. Yeah, we're missing what's necessary in the soil. And that's true for your body too. So beta glucan is a powerful prebiotic. And so it feeds the good gut bacteria so they grow stronger and they outcompete the harmful bacteria. So remember, we're going to always have good and bad, but I want my good to be the strongest and the outnumber these guys. And that's what happens when we have beta glucan. So when the good bacteria eat the beta glucan, they produce, and this is another one of my favorite terms, short-chain fatty acids, short-chain fatty acids. The most popular one is butyrate because of what it does in helping us with neurotransmitters, which is feeling good, having resilience, all of that. But butyrate is like the premium fuel for your gut lining. And it strengthens that gut wall. It repairs micro damage. So if those bad bacteria have been acting up, it's like, no, we're cleaning you up and we're going to heal that. It tightens that gut zipper. It calms inflammation and it improves the the communication. Your body's always talking to each other. Hormones are talking, their communication, immune system's talking to each other. This is important. Now, and this is why people, when they start doing a beta glucan supplement and adding better foods to their diet, they have less bloating, better digestion, more stable energy. How many of you would like that? And better food tolerance. And that's very important because we have a lot of food sensitivities going on because of all of the chemicals that are in the food today. So it's not just that you improve digestion. It's really not that at all. What we did was we improved the lining of the gut. The lining of the gut is stronger. And so I think enzymes are very important to take when you're eating foods. They're very important. Yet we still need to heal the lining of the gut because that's our defense. That's our barrier. All right, so let's talk about strengthening the intestinal barrier. And this is a very important topic. And so your lining is meant to be a filter. And so we want it to filter and let the good nutrition in and keep the bad out. So recognize every day, all of us are exposed to microplastics. We're going to talk about that. Pesticides, food dyes, preservatives, ultra-processed food, chemicals, lab experiments, environmental toxins. A lot of this we can't see. We just know it exists. And we know it exists because people are so sick. But all of these are going through your digestive system first. And so when the gut lining is strong, most of these particles are blocked and eliminated. And eliminated is like they're flushed down the toilet. And that's how your body's designed to work. Oh, Annette, that's a toxin. We're not going to let it in. We're just going to let it flush through the system. And that's when my body says, Annette, don't worry. I've got this under control. We're not even going to let you know there was a toxin in that food. Good. Don't interrupt my day. I'm happy. That's what your digestive system is supposed to do for you. And so as long as it's strong, it's good. But when it's weakened, we call that leaky gut. And I talk about that in the different books that I've written. So, but let's go back to that word microplastics. It's very, it's a hot topic right now, and it should be because the harm that it's causing, mostly I think it's a hot topic because we didn't recognize it was out there so much. And now we're learning how much it is out there in the processed food industry, in the water bottles, in everything. So even though we're taking microplastics in, our body was still designed by God to fight and not let it filter through. But when we have inflammation, it gets through. So let's look at this. So when these particles start entering your bloodstream, you say, well, how did they get in my bloodstream? Well, through this filter. You're not tightly jointed, you're inflamed because of chemicals, because of ultra-processed foods, and so you're inflamed. And yes, it will lead to kidney and liver issues. So, but first, let's go to the brain. When these toxins and plastic particles increase, you have neuroinflammation. Okay, this interferes with the neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters are what help you have that calmness, what helps you have that, we call it an amen day. I'm living my amen day. And it helps you to stay in that mindset. And it helps you just have that. So neurotransmitters help you to always be able to function in a good attitude. You've seen people who are always ready to just fly off the handle and be angry. Okay, they've got some inflammation in the brain and we need to take care of it. And so, but these microplastics can, well, let me share this. So I always like to teach about your brain. Your brain is in what's called a blood-brain barrier. Okay, I'm going to take you back a long time ago. There was a song that where they said it's saying he's got the whole world in his hands. And usually I'll put up a slide and it's just a pair of hands with the world, the globe inside. I always use that visual to help people imagine that I feel like God put this blood-brain barrier over our brain because he wanted to put that final filter to protect our brain because that's how we communicate with him. Yet the microplastics shred that blood-brain barrier. And now we just have almost like an open sieve going into our brain with the toxins. And that's what we need to understand. And so this is why we're having so much greater levels of brain fog. We're having greater levels of anxiety, low moods. We're having poor focus and increased stress sensitivity. What used to be, you could like, oh yeah, that's no big deal. Now little things are setting people off because our sensitivity to stress is just so much heightened now than it used to be. And it's all because of the microplastics. I mean, it's one of the reasons is the microplastics. And it's not a quote in your head. It's inflammatory chemistry affecting your brain communication. And so for some reason, this just came to my mind is that sometimes when you realize someone else is just not being themselves, give them a little bit of grace. And it's like, okay, maybe we need to heal your gut. And they're going to be like, what's wrong with me? And, why are you saying that? And we can recognize in family members when they're just not acting like they're happy. Well, we need to go back and address their gut. We need to see about that. Okay, let's move on to the liver. So that's your cleanup crew. Your liver is your cleanup crew for toxins, especially microplastics. But when we have a constant load dripping in, the liver shifts from an efficient detox system to survival mode. And then we have sluggish detox. So people say, oh, I'm going to go on a detox January 1st. No, you're in a detox state every night when you sleep. Every morning when you wake up, your liver has just done a cleanse overnight. God created your body to always have modes of detox happening all the time. Now, yes, you can do a detox and get more intentional, but that normal 24/7 detox that the body is doing all the time between your liver and your kidneys and your skin, it slows down when we have these toxins in our body, the microplastics. And this is very detrimental. It also helps fat to accumulate in the liver when we have this going on. Hormone clearance. So what I mean by that is your hormones are to be used, experienced, and then done away with. We are not created to recycle hormones. They are to be used, utilized, and then flushed. But when they recycle, then we have like used hormones and they don't work as well. And so think about that. So this is why we don't start with the hormones replacement. We start with the gut. And so we also have that. So we have chemical sensitivity. More and more people are sensitive to different smells and flavors. And we have chronic fatigue, very rampant today, and even in young children. And it's just very sad. So instead of processing the hormones and the toxins smoothly, the liver just lets everything start backing up. And kind of how I share in the Treasures of Healthy Living Bible study is like, yeah, it's kind of funny. When we moved to Virginia from Missouri, in Missouri, we all had basements. And when I moved to Richmond, Virginia, it's like, there's no basements. Where does everyone put their stuff? That stuff that you never get rid of, you just kind of store. Well, I saw driving through some subdivisions, the garage doors were up. Well, the garages weren't for cars here. They were for stuff. Everyone would just put all their stuff in the garage because that was kind of their quote basement. And I really do miss my basement. I'm just going to say that. But I realize our liver is like that. If we don't give it time to clean up, it's just like, oh, I'm going to store that for later. I'm going to store that for later. I'm going to store that for later. Next thing you know, your whole house is full of boxes. It's being stored for later. Your liver's like, no, I can't work like that. And so when we have beta glucan in our diet and in our supplements, and when we're eating healthy and just following a good Bible diet, our liver's like, huh, okay, I've got time to clean that room out this week. I got time to clean that room. We can start to get that cleansing effect. And then we're back to the normal 24/7 detox that the liver is designed to do. The same with the kidneys. It's not designed to back up toxins. It's designed to filter and release. And so when we give our body what it needs, it does this very efficiently. But when we have things like microplastics all around us, we're being exposed to it, we have a backup system, and that's not very healthy. And the same is true with your immune system. We can be in a permanent state of alert. when we have these issues with the microplastics. So chronic inflammation, frequent infections, allergies, and just an autoimmune activation. And we all know that that's not a good thing. And the hormones, same thing. We have the same issues. We have estrogen balance problems. We have thyroid issues. We have cortisol and stress problems and insulin regulation issues. When we have all these microplastics and all these environmental toxins and this fake food that's being fed to many people. So in your hormones, though, it's going to look like PMS, weight gain, mood swings, fatigue, perimenopause, menopause symptoms, and just stubborn metabolic resistance. And it's not pretty, and it's not nice to experience. You can have issues with your joints, all of this. So what we need to realize, though, okay, I need to strengthen the junctions. I need to strengthen the barrier. And I need to do it now. There's like, I'm not going to wait. I need to start doing this right away. This is, I just love how God created our body to heal. Like, yes, there's been harm done. And I'm so glad that my burn is like, you can't even tell it was ever there. That was just like 2 weeks ago. Because that's how God created us. He created us to heal. And if you walk away with one thing tonight, it's like, God created my body to heal, and thank you, Jesus. Now, let's look at other ways that we can help our body to heal. But in other words, well, let me just also say before I get to the healing part, which we will get there, is you need to understand chronic inflammation is detrimental to your health. It is totally detrimental to your health. It is your body on fire. No, acute inflammation. Yeah, I had a bad burn. I had redness. I had pain. Inflammation is God's design. It's like, hey, Annette, that's hot. Get your hand off of that. It's like, oh, you're right. That really hurt. And that's just a minor of some of the injuries I've done to myself. That's how God designed us. Like, hey, there's an alert system built into your body. It's going to start, causing some inflammation. So the blood can, we want the blood to stop. We want it to stop bleeding. We have all these things set in place, how God designed us. But when we have chronic inflammation, it never turns off. And that's not a default of the way God designed it. That's an interruption from what's happening around us and to us. And so it's going to steal resources from everything. All of your body is going to start shifting its resources to help with this chronic inflammation. So you're going to be tired. You're going to have pain and stiffness, brain fog, mood instability, poor sleep, slow healing, because your body's trying to put out the fire. It's trying to put all its focus on this fire that's going on. And so this constant fire, if we have this gap here, then we're always going to have this damage, and we're almost like feeding the fire. We're just totally feeding that fire if we don't heal this barrier. And so you're going to have daily immune overload. You come in contact with someone who's sick, and years ago when your immune system was good, you're like, oh, that's not going to interfere. Now today, because you have this going on, you have inflammation, you have this constant fire, next thing you're like, well, I just barely came in contact with the person. Now I'm really sick. And the next thing, it goes through the whole family, and it goes through, the whole neighborhood. We have to work together to help each other build this back up. So this is why when the gut calms down, the entire body calms down. And it's so beautiful because, I shared when my husband we started with the Bible diet, and we needed to get the doctor off our back, and he was just writing prescriptions like crazy. Within 3 days, my husband didn't need his Prevacid anymore, and he hasn't used it since. It's been 20 years because the inflammation in his gut was healed. So within 3 to 5 days, your lining of your gut starts to heal. And there's a lot that we can go into about that, but I'll just let that go for now. But it is something that we need to recognize the beauty of God's design. So let's talk about your immune system, because some people misunderstand the immune system. I mean, most people understand that in your gut is 70% of your immune system. And that's important to understand because you have all of these receptors that are there, all these neurotransmitters that start there in the gut. So much starts in the gut. And if you think about it, it's like, well, that's also where that banquet of food you just ate is being delivered. And I always kind of make this a little bit not scientifically accurate, but it's kind of similar. So your heart says, oh, we need some calcium and some magnesium. So it sends its grocery list to the gut, and the gut says, yes, I've got some. Here, you can have your calcium and magnesium. And then your liver says it needs some things, and the different systems all send their grocery list to the gut. But you've just eaten processed junk food. And your digestive system says, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Hart, Mrs. Hart, we don't have that today. Instead, I have this other junk. Well, I can't work on that. Well, it doesn't matter. That's what she ate. You're stuck with it. And so your digestive system is like trying to force this stuff into the systems. That is not scientific, but that's my own description of it. So don't hold me to this conversation. Anyway, but when we feed our gut what it needs, now your immune system has everything to send out to every organ. But if you're going to feed it ultra processed foods, and we're going to bring in all these microplastics, and we're not going to have our own defense system that we're going to use to protect us, then we're going to suffer the consequences. So let's look at this. The goal of your immune system isn't to overstimulate immunity. It's to train it. So hear me when I say we are here to learn to train our immune system. And that's the beauty of what we're going to talk about. It's kind of like a guard dog. Your immune system's a guard dog. And I am totally a pet lover, so I love this analogy. You want one you don't want a dog that's just going to sleep through the danger. We've all seen those lap dogs like, oh, there's someone here. Maybe you should alert us. But the dog is just a lap dog. It's no value there. Or you don't want one that attacks everything that moves. And so you want a dog that knows what's dangerous to alert you and what's not. Your immune system should be the same. What is dangerous that's going to cause harm, and then what is not, to allow it to be. Because autoimmunity is when we're starting to attack what's healthy, because our immune system is out of whack. It hasn't been trained because it's had so many toxins to deal with. So tonight is about a supplement, specifically beta-glucan. And beta-glucan can actually help your immune system, either by the foods that have beta-glucan or by supplements. It will detect faster. So it's going to detect the threats faster. And that's what I want. Like I said, if something comes in, I want my body to just take care of it and not interrupt my day. And I want the same for you. And so when we are healthy, our body is going to respond faster to anything that acutely is going to cause harm. It's going to strengthen your defenses. It's going to produce protective antibodies. And that's really important. It's going to balance overreaction. So we hear people like, oh, you're overstimulating your immune system. Well, that can happen, but not if you do it the way we teach you. You're going to learn how to train it, not to overstimulate it. And so here's the thing. Understanding what to eat, real food that God called good, drink water that's been purified, and then supplement. And then that way we are keeping this barrier strong. All right, so let's go into the brain, the gut-brain axis, which is one of my favorite topics as well. When that gut is inflamed, we have these openings. Anxiety goes up. Moods become unstable. Focus drops. Stress sensitivity rises. It also, your gut bacteria, when we're dealing with higher bad bacteria versus good bacteria, fat metabolism, okay, you're going to totally be taking on fat cells and building them. You're going to have blood sugar issues. You're going to have insulin sensitivity issues, and you're going to have energy production issues, all because of the gut bacteria. When it's imbalanced, then we're going to have weight loss is harder. And it's not because of willpower. I mean, you do have issues with willpower because you've got this mental fog going on, but it's more about this metabolic out of balance that you have. And so that becomes harder. And many people get discouraged. And it's like, well, let's work with me. Let's stick with this and I'll help you get there. Let me get a drink real quick. So when we take beta-glucan as a food or as a supplement, we're feeding the good bacteria, we're calming the inflammation, and we're restoring the metabolic process that God put in place for us. So, okay, going on to the gut, the liver, and the hormone connection. After your body uses a hormone, I already kind of touched on this a little bit, but let me go over it one more time, make sure you understand it. So when your body has used a hormone, it then has to be broken down by the liver. After that, it's packaged up for removal, and then it's eliminated through your gut. Your gut is actually the exit route. It's like there's an exit sign, it's lit in red, and your hormones are like, oh, that's the way I'm to go. I have already been used. I'm now to leave. And so that's what's supposed to happen. When you're inflamed, the liver is overloaded, it's overworked, your detox slows down, as I've already shared, your hormones get reabsorbed instead of eliminated. That's when we have the PMS, the PCOS, estrogen dominance, the hot flashes, the mood swings, the stubborn weight, and the hormonal fatigue. Let's go back, heal the gut lining. Let's strengthen that barrier. And then we can start feeding estrogen balancing bacteria. Ta-da! And women are happy, and so are the men. So we're reducing the inflammatory overload. And all of a sudden, you can just take a deep breath and enjoy your day. And so that is the amazing effect. So this is why gut healing improves hormones, even when nothing else changes. In fact, I personally, for myself, would never want to get on a hormone replacement therapy until I've healed the gut. Because even if I'm on a hormone replacement therapy, I will get a better effect from that therapy if my gut is working well. And that's very key for everyone to understand. All right, so what determines gut healing daily? Even with supplements and clean eating. So there has to be a good balance between the two. A few things quietly undo. So there's things that are going to undo your gut. If you're trying to work really hard, if you're going to keep eating ultra processed foods, you're always going to be dealing with issues. Excess sugar, alcohol, medications, chronic stress, poor sleep. This is just going to lead right into always dealing with problems. But tonight's not about the problems. Tonight is about the answers. And remember, I said stay to the end because I got some fun things to share with you about the microplastics. And so let's go into protection. So protection is not just repair, it's essential. So eating the Bible diet, eating the foods God called good is paramount. That should be just, okay, this is my recipe for the rest of my life because I like happy days. I don't like sad days. I like to feel free and be able to do things. I mean, I just took my grandkids hiking, which we call it Old Rag Mountain here. Actually, it is called Old Rag Mountain here in Virginia. It's one of the highest peaks on the Appalachian Trail up in the Blue Ridge Mountains. It's phenomenal. It is so, so good. I mean, it's 10 miles in one day, but you had to scramble up these rocks. I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to do that in my 70s or I don't know, maybe my 80s. I don't know what happens in your 80s, but I'm not there yet. I'm not in my 70s, so don't even think that. But anyway, I want to be there for you. I want to help you to live the life God's called you to live. So we have to be always looking at how am I going to take care of my microbiome? How am I going to keep this barrier and these tight junctions always working for me? So it says, don't worry, Annette, I took care of that toxin that got in. You'll never even be affected during your day. I want the insurance. I want daily intestinal insurance to protect me against all of the things that I've just shared. And so I personally, for my husband and I, we do a supplement called beta glucan. And it does that barrier. It's like, hey, it's going to snow tomorrow. And so I'm going to have my coat on when I go to the gym to work out. And that's my barrier against the cold. My beta glucan is like my extra barrier to protect me against all of the environmental toxins that come at us. And as much as we try to eat healthy, we still get some in our body. And so I want that barrier. It's my winter coat against the storm, or it's my raincoat against the rain. It's that barrier. And so let's talk about this. We are always going to have toxins around us. It's just given. So my husband and I, we supplement with this beta glucan because it's continually feeding the microbiome. It's an ongoing barrier support. It's helping my immune system. I don't know why it took me 3 days to realize, why am I not taking my beta glucan for that burn? And as soon as I did, the skin changed. Like within 12 hours, I was like, whoa. And that sometimes you don't think fast enough because it was and I don't know how many layers deep that burn was. It was very deep. And I'm like, okay, that was smart just to grab onto that. And so just understand this. So I want protection against ongoing toxins. And so daily intestinal insurance. So I want to bring on Reggie Black. Reggie Black and I were talking before we started tonight, and this topic of microplastics is so important for us all to understand. I mean, I've been in different meetings, and I ended up in one meeting about PFOAs. I don't think I was intended to be in that meeting because it was these food company, not food companies, but cooking manufacturer companies. They're all the nonstick cookware. I was at this home show, not a home and garden show, but a home inspired show where I go to get inspired for new videos. And we ended up in this meeting, and they were talking about the PFOAs, and they're talking about how, yeah, but I was in the wrong meeting. It was actually the cooking manufacturers trying to explain how, yes, Congress has gone against us and they're trying to outlaw it all, but we have figured out a way to not let it interfere with our cookware preparation and our way we make cookware. And my friends and I, from my team, were like, uh-oh, we're in the wrong meeting. We thought we were going to learn all about the harm of PFOAs. Instead, we were learning how they were looking to go around the laws to still have the PFOAs in the cookware, even though they say it's not in there. It's kind of like the whole trans fat. Oh, there's no trans fats until you read the labels. Like, well, yes, there is. There has to be, because look at the ingredients. But the laws. So we are in a world that is very interesting to navigate. So Reggie, tell us what you learned about these studies that have happened, even about Dr. Daniel Amen's video too, as well.
Yeah, Annette, first of all, thank you so much for having me. But that presentation was fantastic. I learned a lot. And you have such a great way of explaining things, and love the gut barrier illustration there with the hand. That makes so much sense. So we were talking, before about PFAS and PFAS and PFAs and PFOSs and forever chemicals, and all those things kind of like get lumped together. But one of the really cool benefits of beta glucan is there's research that has been shown that beta glucan can actually help detox some of these forever chemicals, the PFASs, the PFOSs that are in those pans, the stickware, the raincoats, the umbrellas, the shower curtains, everything, the clothing and all that stuff that we're wearing. And the cookware that you were hearing about is like, they're going to figure out a way to kind of rename those things. And unfortunately, this happens even in the supplement industry. Sometimes when, an ingredient gets a bad rap, guess what happens? They're going to, these companies are going to figure out a way to take that same ingredient and just rename it to something else, so people don't realize what's in it. And so beta glucan, there's a really great study that was done by a guy named Dr. Vedvika, which I think a lot of, people in your world, Annette, you've given away that book. You've talked about, look, I got grab mine over here too. We can cheers.
Yep.
Dr. Vedvika's book, but he's really the leading researcher in the world on beta glucan. He has like 200 published studies. He is now retired, but he was out of the University of Louisville. And so he has written kind of the standard on beta glucan in the research. He's done so many different studies on the different effects of beta glucan, but he did one on PFAS and PFAS, showing what happens to the immune system when we get these chemicals from, specifically things like nonstick cookware, and the stressful effects that it has on both sides of the immune system, both the innate and the adaptive, and how stressful that is, and how the beta glucan can actually help relieve, some of that stress that these chemicals are putting on the immune system. And this thing also hit a massive viral impact. Just 4 or 5 months ago, there was a couple of videos that went viral because there was a study showing that oat beta glucan can actually help reduce PFASs. So the study, you can look up, it was called an oat fiber intervention for reducing PFAS body burden. It was a pilot study. And Dr. Daniel Amen, released a video. He was talking about his, beta glucans and some of his research that he's done. And he was like, this is one of those things that can help detox it. And so that what they found is that it can form like a gel-like substance and help cling to some of these things and flush them out of your body. And so really, really neat research around beta glucans because it has those fiber-like properties. And so it can help push some of those things out of the body. But this is what God's designed our immune system to do, is to go in there and help trap some of these things that don't belong, anything that's identified as non-self, right? It's that guard dog analogy you were talking about. And so the guard dog realizes what's bad. And so the immune system can go in there and trap it, consume it, and get rid of it. And so what happened was we were actually in the middle. We have, our company, we do a lot of research on beta glucans, and specifically our product. And so one of the studies that we're currently in the middle of, we're partnering with a company called True Diagnostic that does an aging panel. So for like longevity or for anti-aging, and they're, a company they've done, partner with celebrities, and they do the rejuvenation Olympics to see who can, slow down their aging the most. And so we are testing our product. We had a 60 patient test with the product and over a 12-week period. And we were trying to measure, the impact that this product had on longevity. And so we're starting to now get some of those results back. And one of the things that we just heard last week was from their bioinformatics and research team is they're like, did you guys also know that the product has some really incredible detoxification benefits too? Like we're seeing really clean data with the detox load from these chemicals going down in this. And it was one of those things like, aha, you almost forget about some of these big benefits of beta glucan because it's making the immune system so much smarter. And so this is something that, is becoming a big deal. It's a hot topic. Everybody's talking about it. And so now looking at that data, we're, considering moving, the research in that direction and publishing a paper on it.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that because this is key. One, we're using food-based supplements, and now we're actually seeing the results that it is actually getting rid of and eliminating the microplastics. Because microplastics, and you use the word forever. What'd you say, forever what?
Forever chemicals.
Yeah, forever chemicals.
Mhm.
Yet God's design is healing. He is
Yeah.
Jehovah Rapha. He is the healer. And so he created our body to heal. So yes, sometimes we can use like beta glucan to create this healing effect. And I'm really glad that you brought that up. And I'm really glad the studies are showing it, that beta glucan, especially if Dr. Daniel Amen, who's like all about the brain, and I did his program and I'm certified with his group, understanding beta glucan removes microplastics from the brain. So, I mean, first you have to heal the gut.
Yeah.
And so it does that effect, and then it actually helps through the whole process of how the body works, helps the body to the body actually releases the toxins, versus it's not like it goes in and grabs it and pulls it out. I mean, the body kind of does a release effect. So I want to thank you so much, Reggie. So Reggie, and go ahead and tell us, because I think that this Better Way Health, one, I love that you're a Christian-based company. My packages used to come with a scripture on the outside. I'm like, well, that was cool. But that's good. And that's what I loved about the company. But I need a company that actually works. And we've talked to, I forgot his name now, one of your scientists. We've had him on in our inner circle calls several times about the effect on cancer. But right now, focusing just on the microplastics is enough. So my goal is that people are able to step forward into 2026 and have a good product that they can protect their immune system. So tell us more about what you have as a gift for everyone tonight, being a part of this webinar.
Yeah, we're excited. So AJ Lanigan is his name.
Yeah, thank you.
Our formulator, AJ Lanigan, kind of the brilliant scientist who found out about beta glucan over in Japan with another one of his pharmacist friends whose dad had cancer. And AJ traveled over there, found out about this product, and he came back to the US. This was now 30 years ago, and was like, beta glucan's an approved drug and has been for 40 plus years in Japan, Taiwan,
Yeah.
Korea. They use it as an adjuvant treatment for cancer. And so AJ, when he went over there and found out about this product, was like, I'm going to come back to the US and figure out how to make it. And he did. It was so expensive at that point, it was really unrealistic for anybody to make it. But AJ's really, kudos and shout out to him, because he's really the one who is responsible for making this product available and affordable for a consumer. Because you're talking about something that was, thousands of dollars,
Yeah.
for dosages before AJ. So yes, we are very excited to offer a special. And Annette, I know we tried a couple of times to, squeeze this in, and with your busy schedule right before Black Friday and right after. And so we ended up, landing on this date of December 4th. And so we decided that we did a special offer just for your audience. We reopened up our Black Friday sale. And so you're not going to find this anywhere else on the website. We've shut down the Black Friday offer all over our website. If you go to betterwayhealth.com, you will not find this. It's only through this special link. But we built that sale back up through the betterwayhealth.com/reader, REEDER, in honor of Annette Reader. But you can go there and you can find the special on our beta glucan 500, which is our high dose product. And recommendation for this would be like just taking two capsules a day in the beginning to really start and kick off those, detoxification process. And the biggest thing that we're offering this year, which we've never done before for our Beta Glucan 500 product, is Black Friday prices forever. So you can
That's
subscribe
amazing.
to Black Friday at this at whatever interval fits your schedule, and you can lock in these Black Friday prices forever. So our company's been around now for 26 years, and we're here to stay, and we want to offer this, with inflation and tariffs and all these things that are coming. We're offering this special during Black Friday and now extended just for your audience through that link. You can lock in and get the beta glucan and save that price.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And no, but how long does this last? How long are they able to grab this special?
We have this up, I think it's 24 hours.
48 hours.
48 hours.
Oh,
The
that's
Lord
even
has
better.
spoken. We don't even know. It's really Adrian behind the scenes. Okay,
Yeah.
48 hours. Thank you, Adrian. Yes, so for the next 48 hours, and then this will poof vanish and this offer will go away. So make sure you take advantage of it.
Yeah, I will say, so that one price, 149.95, when I'm working with a client and I send them to your site, that's the price.
Yeah.
So for you to have it up here at 74.95 and for life, I thought that was a misprint, but then I realized that says forever. So we can forever protect our body against those forever chemicals and have a forever amazing life. So we can play with that. And so I really appreciate your company doing this. I think it's phenomenal. And I love working with Christian companies, especially when the products are at the level of what you have. So there are a lot of companies that sell beta glucan, but this is the actual beta glucan that all of the research has been proving. And so anybody can sell you a dried mushroom, but this is the beta glucan that actually works. So I appreciate that. Do we want to take time for questions and answer Q&A or
Yeah, sure. I've got time. If you want to jump in, we can do some questions.
there's quite a few in the chat box. Let me just see
Yeah.
if I can grab a few. And yeah, it was kind of a little bit, so the 74.95 is per bottle, not for all three.
That's correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
74.95 per bottle. Normally it's 149 for that
Right.
for that beta glucan. So
Yeah.
this is the lowest price, as you mentioned. I mean, that is the normal price, but this is the lowest price we offer all year long. It's just for Black Friday and now, for that extended version. But it is legitimately, it's not a marketing thing. It's not a hype. It's not one of those companies that's like, oh, we have Black Friday all year. It is the best price you'll ever find on our beta glucan.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
And so someone's Aliyah is talking about, is it based on your weight? Is it safe for kids? It is totally safe for kids. It is totally safe for all ages. And yeah, AJ will talk about if you're needing a therapeutic dose, it is 1 per 50 pounds of body weight during your therapeutic session. And so it's not a prescription. We're not prescribing. It's just kind of what they've seen that has worked for many people. So if I was dealing with something, I would take 1 per 50 pounds of body weight per day. And then I do take it with in the morning, first thing, without any food.
Yeah,
So
exactly correct. You answered it. You answered it perfectly. On an empty stomach, 30 minutes before you eat. And yeah, you take it, that capsule per 50 pounds of body weight while you need or want the maximum immune response, if you're dealing with something until that you get that under control, and then you can go back down to a lower dosage.
yeah, perfect. What if you're sensitive to yeast? That's a good question. Would it not be recommended in this case?
Great question. We get that all the time. This product is very, very safe, even for people that have yeast allergies, because it comes from the inside of the cell walls of baker's yeast. And so then it is highly purified. So it's actually extracted from the cell walls of baker's yeast. And I love what you were saying earlier, Annette, because It's like God has put here on this earth all the things that we need for our body to, heal, and the leaves of the trees are for the healing of the nations, and all these things. And so my world for the last 15 years has been beta glucan. I kind of wake up, I thinking about beta glucan and learn about beta glucan. There's literally thousands of studies out there on beta glucan, and so I learn new things about it every day. But it's just such a fascinating thing to me, and I always think about that proverb in Proverbs chapter 22 that says it's the glory of God to conceal a matter, and the glory of kings to search out a matter. I really do believe that like God placed this beta glucan here on this earth inside the cell walls of the yeast, and it was the glory of these scientists at University of Tulane 60 years ago that came and discovered this little thing that God hid for us inside the cell walls, extracted it, purified it, and now it activates the immune system. It's like this crazy, amazing thing, the way that the structure of it activates these dectin 1s and these CR3 receptors that are unique to our immune cells, turns them on and enhances our body's ability to go out and fight things. So all that to say is it is because it's inside the cell wall of the baker's yeast, when it's pulled out, all those things that would cause those yeast allergies are stripped away during that purification process. And so it is very, very safe. It's not going to have any of those yeast properties because even before that, it is a dead yeast. So we're not talking about a live yeast, like, go get some Fleshman's yeast from the store or something and take that. We're talking about a dead yeast that is then extracted and purified. So very, very safe. GRAS rated by the FDA, which is generally recognized as safe, which means there's no known side effects or adverse events from the product.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah. So someone was asking, is this a subscription? So if you do the every 3 months, yes, it is a subscription every 3 months. And so with any subscription, you can cancel anytime you want. That's never an issue. And this is an amazing company to talk to. In fact, they actually answer the phone. So it's like, wow, it's a company that actually answers the phone. How cool is that? It's so rare. And so
We love talking to people on the phone, and we have a customer service team that's all here in the US and answers the phone, and we text and email and all those things. And yeah, you can cancel anytime. You can pause it. You can push it back if you have too much. You can push it forward. And one of the nice things, that we do that a lot of companies don't, but I wish everyone did when you sign up for a subscription, is we'll text you and email you 3 days before it ships out if you need to make any adjustments. So we're not like sneaking around, like looking like, oh, can we charge them, and jump on them and be like, oh, no, too late, it's gone through. But we will text and email before that subscription hits again, and there's no contracts, or anything like that on there. So very, very flexible.
Someone's asking, what is the cancer-free class? I'm not really, we don't have a cancer-free class. We do have a cancer course called Conquering Cancer. I do have about 4 videos on YouTube with AJ Lanigan talking about Better Way Health beta glucan specifically. I'm not sure what those videos are titled. I don't title my videos, someone else does. So they are out there. But it's probably going to have the word cancer somewhere in the description, so you could look those up. But yeah, we do have a cancer course where we interview physicians every month about cancer, and we have good Q&A time with that. Do they expire? Well, it is a natural ingredient, so it does have an expiration date, but I've noticed my bottles are a good 2 years in the expiration cycle. So I don't know what your answer is to that, Reggie, but I notice that I do have a long shelf life with what I buy.
The 500 milligram product that we carry has a 5-year shelf life.
I was afraid to say that, but I was thinking it was pretty long out there. So
yeah, it is. It is long on this. It's a very stable product. And by the way, one of the things also with our 500 milligram product, there's no excipients, there's no fillers. We don't use magnesium stearate, which makes it very difficult for us to find people that will produce it for us. But the only ingredient in this thing is beta glucan. I mean, we have a vegetarian capsule and we have beta glucan in there. So that's one of the reasons we're able to, extend that shelf life out, because we're only dealing with one ingredient. You're not mixing things together that sometimes become more volatile. You're not, taking 3 or 4 different or 7 different combinations like a lot of other products and saying, okay, well, then you have to kind of deal with what happens when I combine them, or do we take the one that, if you take 7 products that all have a long shelf life, and then you take one that has a 1 year shelf life. Guess what your shelf life is? You're going to have to report on in 1 year. It's
Right.
like, so that is a really big benefit to our product. Only one ingredient, pure beta glucan in the capsule. No reason not to stock up
Mm.
because you've got a 5 year shelf life on
Yeah, excellent.
it. Yeah. And I
All right.
just I just went on YouTube, and I just typed in Annette Reader and AJ Lanigan, and your videos pop up. Little
All
known
right.
amazing beta glucan benefits you need to know today.
There
Was
you
a
go.
42-minute one you did with AJ 3 years ago, and several other on there on the Biblical Nutritionist YouTube channel.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, appreciate that. All right. Looking through, I think we've answered most of these questions. Somebody's asking if you offer other vitamins and minerals. They do have this is actually the company that I send everyone to for the vitamin D.
Mhm.
We did our own in-house test on that vitamin D. It's amazing. Even the other physicians that I work with, they refer to this vitamin D. It is like, okay, you don't get any better vitamin D. So they do have other supplements as well. Tonight, we're basically talking about the beta glucan. They're a company that specializes in, and when a company specializes, that means that product is going to be the best you can get. When that's their specialty, you want to always pay attention to that.
Yeah, beta glucan has been our focus for 20 years. And, all of our product suite just about revolves around that product. We only have 9 products total.
Yeah.
But beta glucan is 6 of those. So, we, that is our specialty. That is what we live and breathe. That's what we bet the farm on, is this product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good farm too. So,
Thank
uh,
you. Thank you.
all right. Does anyone have any other questions we did not answer? Okay, one new one just popped in. Let me see if it's something we haven't answered yet. Um, will you mention that your YouTube videos can speak to the dosage questions? Yeah, the YouTube videos, AJ does talk about the dosages of what is the recommended amount. And so, yes, that is in the YouTube videos. And yeah, so basically, if you're doing a therapeutic dose, it's 1 pill per 50 pounds of body weight per day. If you're like, hey, I'm just on maintenance dose, I just want to keep that barrier nice and strong, you could do 1 500 a day.
Yep.
And some people are like, oh, I'm not in therapeutic, but I don't want to just do the one, I'm going to do two. So it's totally your choice. So basically, we just tell you what's is the therapeutic level, this is your maintenance level. And, if you're going to travel, you're going to be in the airports, if you're going to be,
Yeah.
around a lot of people, you want that immune system to always be, I don't want to use the word primed because it's a totally misused word, but tonight I was teaching you about how to train your immune system.
Yeah.
You want that dog, that guard dog that recognizes an invader and doesn't attack what is good and healthy. So that's why your immune system is so important. And I hope I've helped everyone to understand that at a very easy way. So basically, they're doing this special just for us. It's not for anyone else. But I do want to say also, Better Way Health did help support our retreat. They were one of our key sponsors at our last retreat. And we are so appreciative of that because it really helped us to make that retreat. And that retreat was so amazing. The Holy Spirit was just pouring out of that retreat. It was amazing. So how to know when you reduce the dose? That's kind of a pharmaceutical doctor answer. So I'm not sure I can answer that, but you might be able to call their office and see if someone at the office will answer that. I don't know if Reggie, if you want to answer that, or it's kind of getting into more of a prescriptive
It is.
answer.
And the way that we usually tell people is, when you wake up in the morning, you get to pick and choose with beta glucan how effective you want your immune system to be. And so you can take one of those capsules, or you can take up to 1 capsule per 50 pounds of body weight. So for a 150-pound person, you can flex between 1 and 3, depending on what your needs are. So for instance, Annette, you talked a lot about traveling in the airports. I would go up to 3 a day at 150 pounds person, 3 a day, 3 days before I travel, during the travel, and 3 days after I get back, and then you could go back down. And so the research from Dr. Viveka shows that your immune system can literally double its immune response at that maximum dosage. But you're still going to get a huge increase, about 50% increase just from that first capsule. And so you can pick and choose every single day, how effective you want that immune system to be by how much of it that you're taking. And so you can take the 3 a day until you start to feel, the benefits of the immune system. You start to feel like you're getting sick, I'd ramp up. You start to travel, I'd ramp up. You're having a dental surgery or something like that,
Mhm.
where your immune system is going to be compromised, or having some dental work done, I would ramp up. But that is really up to you on how effective you need or want your immune system to be.
Yeah, so true. Yeah, if you're going to be visiting anyone in the hospital, I would take extra.
Yes. Yeah,
Hospital is
absolutely.
not a safe place to be.
Struggling with cravings, fatigue, or confusion about your health? You're not alone. But you don't have to stay stuck. Get the free Bible Health ebook and discover 7 powerful steps to real, lasting transformation God's way. Break emotional eating. Learn what truly satisfies. Align your health with God's truth. This is your breakthrough. Get your free Bible Health ebook now on the website, thebiblicalnutritionist.com. It's time to take the first step toward vibrant health, both physically and spiritually.